Mark. 0, go, go, go. 1, lock. Go wing. Slowly coming away. 2. Here we go. Stay right wheel. You guys all right? Very well sound, everyone.
Welcome to Dubai and Championship Sunday for the second day of racing at the Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas. This is the Mina Rashid, the busiest marina in the Middle East, and houses as many as 500 vessels. Sitting in the heart of Dubai, today it will be the backdrop for the world's best sailors as SailGP comes to this part of the world for the first time in 3 seasons. Alongside Stevie Morrison and Emily Nagel, I'm Todd Harris. Well, 3 fleet races today before the final podium race, which will only involve the top 3 teams in points. If forecasts are correct, we are in for a great day of racing on the Persian Gulf. Here's the 4th member of our broadcast team down on the water, Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
It is looking fantastic for racing. We have average winds of 22 kilometres per hour from the northwest, gusting up to 25 kilometres per hour. I can confirm that there has been a wing change overnight from the 29-metre wing to the 24-metre wing to account for the extra breeze that we have. Many of the sailors are happy about that configuration. They've been foiling around, having a great time, and I think, Todd, I'm expecting some edge of your seat racing today.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Much more from you throughout the day. Tricky conditions on day 1 for the drivers and tacticians to be on their game, but overall it was an exciting day and really set the tone for what is to come today with more breeze. The key, as always, is being consistent and avoiding poor results in any of the fleet races.
Day 1 of the Dubai Sail Grand Prix was all about maintaining flight and minimising manoeuvres. Canada was the first that broke free and ran away with the first race.
Phil Robertson in Canada, they are dominating this first race here in Dubai.
Nice work, team.
Behind, though, the battles didn't stop.
Really accurate sailing by the Danish and great work by the French. Great Britain must keep clear.
This is the umpire's penalty GBR relative Switzerland.
I don't understand. The umpires are just drifting in and just...
The British team turned frustration into comebacks as they stole the lead in race 2 from New Zealand.
They come from behind and just get the Kiwis at the line.
That's nice work. Yeah.
The start of race 3 saw Canada get penalised and they didn't exactly agree.
Penalty Canada.
What are you talking about, Craig? Take that penalty off, mate. I want you to review that. That is ridiculous.
Meanwhile, Great Britain were at it again, this time stealing the show from the United States.
And by round up in 5.
The team did a really good job trying to keep cool in these really hot temperatures.
So no shortage of drama on day number 1, and in the end, Great Britain comes out with a 5-point lead to start day 2. 5 points clear of the USA and New Zealand. France in 4th, tied with Canada, Switzerland, Denmark. But look at Australia, the 2-time reigning and defending champions, way down in 8th place on 13 points, just 3 points clear of last, and Spain. We're almost set to go racing. Right now, it's time to look at today's course map, and for that, we join Stevie Morrison.
A fast start is the ticket to lead at Mark 1. After the first turn, the boats can sail their own course, trying to find the shortest time between gates. At each gate, they can turn left or right. Remember, sailing boats only go fast when they sail at an angle to the wind, so we see them zigzagging around the course to give themselves tactical advantage. The course is very short, so there'll be a lot of boat-on-boat action. A Street Fighter's course. Who will land the knockout punch? Here today in Dubai.
So we are set to go in Dubai, 1:40 until the start of race number 4. Remember, 3 fleet races today and then the top 3 teams in the podium race. Stevie, as you look at the course and what we hear from Lisa Darmanin down on the water, where do you fancy most of the teams are going to want to be at the start?
I think you're going to want to be at the end closest to the next mark, to Mark 1. It's going to be the downwind end of the line. We saw a bit of a scrap there last time. Bit more wind and smaller wings today, so we might see a change up in the strategy. Yesterday, the whole fleet needed to be close to the line because those huge wings were like a big windbreak. Today, smaller wings. They could see that more of a slingshot late run-up approach that's worked so well for New Zealand in some earlier events this season.
And Emily, do you agree with Stevie? This is going to be a street fight in this small course?
Oh, definitely. It's all to play for. We've seen on the points just how close it is, and every team wants to be on top at the end of the day.
7 teams out of 9, Emily, I'm sorry, 7 teams out of 9 are in the running for that top 3 position.
Well, you say that, Todd, but I also think if Australia do win this first race, they'll be right back in it. Tom Slingsby hasn't given up, so I don't imagine any of his fans out there should be giving up either. Here we go, we've got a penalty on Denmark already. Will have been outside the boundary early. Australia looks a long way back in the box there at this moment in time as well. So we've got Spain, Denmark on camera up on the foils. That penalty on Denmark, they're going to need to start behind the fleet. Big mistake. Great Britain and France, they lead the fleet back. They look a little early. New Zealand, left-hand side of screen, they are trying the long distance run up. They're well set up for the blue pole position line. How's your timing on the New Zealand boat? But Ben Ainsley's Great Britain has control at the moment if he can accelerate in time. 6 seconds. Watch for the line to turn white and the race will be underway. Wow, look at the speed of New Zealand, double the speed of the rest of the fleet. The timing from Peter Burling, absolutely on point. He should lead from here at Mark 1.
Yeah, it's only just over top of 3-2, so keep working. You call the grip?
New Zealand, France, Great Britain, the top 3, and everyone else is playing chase as the Kiwis hit Mark 1 first. Look at this, like a flying arrow.
2, 1, now we're 2 for a righto. Going away. Might lay.
I feel like I had my magic ball out for that start there, Todd, calling the slingshot in, and it should now play out for these front 3 boats. Bit of space. We see gate 2's already going to be on top of them. Very keen to turn right at the bottom for Peter Burling. He wants to do 2 manoeuvres. Being in the lead, you've got control of your decisions. Fantastic news for New Zealand early in the day.
And Emily, speaking of those decisions, with this course being so short, they're going to have to make them quick.
Exactly. They're not thinking about the next maneuver, they're thinking about the one after that. They're thinking, where are they going to be on the next leg? Where do we need to position ourselves? Not only to get the best breeze for us, but to stop the boat behind us getting the breeze as well.
So it'll be the Kiwis the first at gate number 2. Great Britain is moving to second place, France in 3rd. And look at that rounding. The Kiwis just come screaming out of gate number 2.
They've able to sail their plan as well. They obviously think there's more wind there. They'll be wanting to turn right because they think that's the quickest way to sail up the course. Most of the boats are following here. It's going to be tight manoeuvres, and I know the New Zealand boats manoeuvring has been very strong, so they'll be loving this bit more wind.
Turning. Okay, good angle there. What's the left? What's the left?
Australia must stay clear of
This is the
America here.
umpires. Penalty Australia, relative USA.
It's going to be a short-lived
Windward boat not
penalty
keeping
for
clear.
us. Be a short-lived loss for this one, Australia. He just needs to wait for the United States to pass him. Switzerland, the first boat to split the course. Look at the speed at the top of the wing, 51 kilometres an hour. They're going fast. When they meet back up with the fleet in a moment, they will be the right-of-way boat. We're back on board here with Australia now. As soon as they clear the mark, he must turn away from the United States. He's slow to react there, Slingsby. This board in the left-hand side of our screen didn't go down in time. He couldn't keep clear. Fair penalty. Good call by the umpires.
And there's the advantage, 200 meters to New Zealand as they came out and got the lead right at the line. France sits in second place. Canada sits in 3rd. New Zealand and France need desperate victories here in these first 3 races, 4, 5, and 6, and then it's the podium race, only the top 3 teams competing.
25 kilometres now breeze out there today. Perfect conditions for foiling. We can see all the teams with the foils almost all the way out of the water. If you look closely, you can see the white line that marks optimum ride height for these boats.
You see there, the New Zealand boat sailing parallel to that yellow line. That says they can get to gate 3 with no more turns. But look, top left of screen, the leaderboard. New Zealand, Great Britain, France. It's good news for them. But Tom Slingsby's Australia, he's back in 9th.
Look at the USA, Spain, and Australia, the bottom 3. Switzerland has moved up to 4th.
Recharge of 10. Out of it 3. The Swiss on boundary. Just past the Swiss.
It's like slot track racing for New Zealand, Stevie. The way they're cornering on this course is amazing.
It's just the way they all have to work together. You've got Joe Allais, she's trying to spot the boat, spot the course. Pete Burling asking, you know, where are those boats? Blair too, dealing with the comms. But you see there, the United States, they decide to go a different way. They turn right there, and they're going to be followed away by Delapierre on board the French boat. They don't have the right of way, so any boats approaching upwind, they've got to watch out for.
So
Tight at the top here.
France.
Have a look, Switzerland need to keep clear. clear. That's too close. That's going to be a protest by the Danes there, I would imagine. That manoeuvre was so close. United States turns away.
The umpires, penalty Switzerland, relative Denmark.
I can't say I'm surprised there. That was a little bit of a late decision by Seb Snyder, but he just needs Denmark to pass and the penalty should clear. It's going to clear pretty quickly, I'd suggest, down here. Denmark are passed. They're up and running. Wow.
Chief umpire Craig Mitchell doling out the penalties. Not going to argue with that one as Denmark moves into 6th. Switzerland drops back to 7th. The USA has moved up to 5th.
Here we go. Denmark, they have right of way. Switzerland can't make Denmark change their course. They do. They turn too late, too close. Fair penalty. And it was really close to the mark. These things change so quickly, but it's going to be tight. We can expect a lot of this today, Todd. The course is so short that as they come together at the different gates, unless you're New Zealand,
already
look
around
at
gate
that
4.
lead out in front. Big lead, but Great Britain, they're not giving up the fight. Ben Ainsley's British boat, well, they had a brilliant day yesterday, and they're really in the hunt in the first race today.
Ben Ainsley, Great Britain, were in 2nd place to New Zealand in race number 2. They came back and got that win, and then they got the win in race number 3 as well.
Bobby is trying to protect 2nd here at the moment.
We know that the British won 2 races yesterday. That puts them points quite far ahead of everyone else, 5-point gain. So today they don't need to go for the win in every race. 2nd is a safe way to get them into the final.
Go Switzerland, they lost a lot of distance there from that incident with the Danish. Very costly for the Swiss boat. They're right at the back of the pack, just pushing it a little bit too hard. Denmark, well, Nikolai Seherstedt, he's doing a nice job keeping the boat sailing round smoothly here. He needs points, as does Jimmy Spittle's United States. Every point counts, and we can see here United States back in 6th. I'm not sure that'll be enough for them at this stage.
Americans currently sitting in 2nd place overall behind Great Britain. They need points badly. They need to move up the ladder from 6th. Probably, Steve, to be safe in that top 4 position.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all about making that final today, isn't it? We've got to be looking at that for Australia. I don't think they're doing enough. Spain, I don't think they're doing enough. Switzerland, I think they may have hamstrung themselves as well. But for the United States, they've got to be looking to catch back up with the Danish, because New Zealand and Great Britain, well, as Ben said, we just want to be 2nd. He knows that all he's got to do is be consistent, get to the final, and that's where the money really is going to play out.
As they approach the next gate, it is still New Zealand. They got the whole shot. They have led from the get-go. This is like 5 of 7. Race number 4, the first race here on Championship Sunday.
Masterclass from New Zealand here, 100% fly time. Great Britain almost there, just not quite. Average speeds upwind here at 50 kilometers an hour average.
Picture perfect for the Kiwis. Here, the calms are on board, Stevie.
As
Great Britain comes into gate 5.
It's amazing how much easier it is when you're out in front, Todd. You've got that bit more time to do it. You can sail your plan. You're not having to react. Sounds pretty similar on the British boat. Getting there. Hannah Diamond in the background. She's saying, got to watch out for the Aussies. Aussies mid-pack. They're up to 4th. Tom Slingsby, once again, he's fighting his way through very impressively, but I think he really needs to be in the first couple of places in this race to have any hope. And this is leg 6 of 7 for the leaders, Todd. We're nearly at the finish. And USA, they're back to 9th. Disastrous for Jimmy Spittle.
Yeah, they were up to 5th at one point. They're now in 9th place as Australia has moved up to 6th place. So keep an eye on Tom Slingsby and the 2-time defending champions. It's still New Zealand, Great Britain, France, your top 3. And here comes the congestion once again here at this next gate. It's Canada, Denmark, and look at Slingsby trying to punch his way in there.
Denmark's got to give him room to get through there. Another place gained by Tom Slingsby. He's scrapping, he's fighting so hard here for the points. Denmark don't need to be losing that place. It's probably good news for Phil Robertson, because that 4th should be a little bit more cemented, but talking about positions cemented, it's a cakewalk.
Already through the next gate, New Zealand now. One more leg to go and the victory will be theirs in race number 4. Look how close they are to the shore. That is some appointment viewing. And across the line, it is New Zealand that gets the win. Great Britain will finish in 2nd place. So the Kiwis lead from start to finish to kick off Championship Sunday.
think Ben will be very happy with that. Quentin Delapierre's French crew, well, they're just chipping away. One, of course, in Cadiz, and this is the sort of thing we're starting to see, real maturity from this French crew now. Third place here, that's going to put them right in the hunt going into race 5 for a place in the final. Bravo, les gars. Doesn't take much interpreting that, Todd. He's pretty happy on board. The team's done well. Amélie Rieu at the back there, happy. High fives with Quentin Delapierre. And, you know, they've done a nice job. Again, Phil Robertson, he had a bit of an altercation with the umpires at the end of yesterday. Good resettle. Didn't hear him have any conversation with Craig Mitchell yet today. So that's good news for the Canadians, and they're going to be in the hunt.
How about this recovery?
Yeah,
the Australians, they were in the back of the pack, and they will finish in 5th overall, just ahead of Denmark.
Good work by Slings people. I think he needs more. He's got to start winning races.
Yep. Spain will come in and grab 7th place. Switzerland is going to hold on for 8th, which means the USA will finish dead last on Championship Sunday in race number 4, and that's not the way Jimmy Spithill and his company would like to start this day. And the Americans, Stevie, that leg 5 was disastrous for them. After the penalty with Australia, it just seemed like it threw them into a downward spiral.
Yeah, I mean, one mistake, you get into a little bit of a fight, you get out of phase. So sometimes you can be in a good pattern with the wind, but as soon as you start to lose the pattern of the wind and you're reacting to the other boats, you're on the back foot. Jimmy Spithill, he's normally a good street fighter, but he just got on the wrong side of a few punches in that one.
And a throwback here to the start, and what a start it was. Teams up on the foils from 30 seconds to go. Australia and Denmark took themselves out by going outside the boundary, but New Zealand flies over this punch at the bottom of the line. New Zealand doing 57.1 kilometers an hour at the gun, while GBR and France were only doing 35. This speed allowed them to slingshot over the line, hit Mark 1 first, and carry that lead all the way to the finish.
On board with New Zealand SailGP, Peter Burling and your company, congratulations. Great race, great start to Championship Sunday. Take us back to that start, Peter. What was the strategy there? Did you guys know you had the speed to come off the line like that? We're trying to get... Pete Burley's got his helmet off right now, so we'll not only be able to talk to him, but Stevie.
I wonder if Joe Allais. Can Joe hear us down on the water, Joe? You seem to have a brilliant start on board the boat. No, clearly comms are a bit off on board New Zealand. Perhaps keeping some secrets out there, Todd, because it was some start.
Well, race 4 is complete, and it is New Zealand the big winners as they get the win going start to finish. Great Britain finishing in 2nd, France in 3rd. Race 5 coming up when we return to Dubai. This is SailGP.
Zoe. Season 3's underway.
It didn't take long for Australia to show why they're double season champions.
Australia brings it home.
Few would have thought Canada were capable of making yet another final, but this time they went one better in Chicago by finishing 2nd, with Australia making an early rush for season points.
The 2-time defending champions make it 2 in a row.
For Great Britain, they missed a home event final in just 1 cross.
It's tight. It's really, really tight.
There's penalty GBR.
Are you kidding?
New Zealand found their form, winning their first Grand Prix.
The Kiwis take the win in Plymouth.
In Copenhagen, the Kiwis were unbeatable, and it was France and Denmark that joined them in the final.
New Zealand SailGP that takes the win here in Copenhagen.
The rivalry continues between Australia and New Zealand, and the Kiwis took every opportunity to get an edge on their competition. Jimmy Spithill and his United States team were the consistent performers on day 1 and dealt with the shift into light wind mode for day 2 for their first ever SailGP victory.
Jimmy Spithill and the Americans have claimed the victory here at the Range Rover France Sail Grand Prix.
France have consistently placed inside the top 5 this season, and it was in Cadiz where they made their move, battling the United States all the way to the finish.
Look at the American boat there, he flies too high. Massive moment.
Separated by just a few meters. And it will be France getting their first victory in SailGP St. Magnifique.
Coming away, 2. Here we go.
All kinds of water enthusiasts flock to the Mina Rashid as the busiest marina in the Middle East. But something out of the ordinary turned up earlier this week, a SailGP USA training session that caught not only Jimmy Spittle's eye, but the entire fleet. This is Omer Saeed, professional wakeboarder and 2-time Guinness World Record holder, and he came with his e-foil to fly next to USA SailGP team during a training session. He was able to keep up with the foiling F50 catamarans for a short spell. Foiling certainly is the new mode of transportation. Take a look at the results after 4 races on Championship Sunday. It is Great Britain that still maintains a healthy lead, 4 points now over New Zealand, and France sitting at 3rd transfer position. But the big news of the day, the USA that was in 2nd coming into Sunday has now dropped after that 9th place finish all the way down to 6th place on 22 points and a lot of work to do. Remember, there's only 2 more races to go, and you need to be in the top 3 to be in the podium race. Right now, let's check in down on the water. Once again, in the 4th member of our broadcast crew, here is Lisa Darmanin.
Well, the good news for our spectators is the breeze looks like it's holding in and we should have another exciting race. I'm seeing a little bit of a pattern emerge with a left turn at gate 2 and a right turn at gate 4 being the preferred way to navigate this course. Of course, if you are in front, it makes these decisions a lot easier. There are a few magic gusts out here, but I would say not a lot of opportunity for overtaking. All the overtaking is happening when the teams come together at those gates. So keep your eyes peeled because that is where all the action is happening.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Spectators get in the prime position. Remember, this is a very small course here in Dubai, so you can get up close and personal to see the world's best sailors as we're up on 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go before the start of race number 5. Guys, as we crunch those numbers, wow, what a performance by New Zealand. And for the Americans, Emily, just the opposite.
It was a really tough race out there for the Americans. And one example of what happened was they sailed 1,000 meters more distance in that race than Team New Zealand. Now, on a race course that is less than 1 kilometer, 1,000 meters long, that's quite a big proportion to be sailing further.
So, Stevie, the big question is, how do the Americans bounce back in this race? Because remember, it's race 5, race 6, and then it's just the top 3 in the podium race.
Well, I think they've got to be a little bit more aggressive at the start. I don't think we've seen Jimmy really show us his best starting boots, and he's got them, you know, we know he's got that kind of ability in there. So I think we're going to see them have to be a little bit more aggressive. Of course, Canada and France, really, that's looking like a straight dogfight. For Denmark and USA, I expect high-risk starts. They need to win this race to give themselves a shot going into race 6, should we be looking to get there. So I just think they've got to up the risk level a little bit on the United States. We saw an absolute perfect reading of the start box and the strategy required to get the best start by New Zealand and Peter Burling. Delapierre, he's just been playing it safe. He's been conservative, good, solid technique, well executed. And another third place by the French. It's just clever sailing.
Ben Ainslie and Great Britain playing it smart. Did not try to burn too many bullets as they were trying to track down New Zealand. They settled for 2nd place, and that keeps them 4 points clear of the Kiwis in the overall standings here in Dubai.
Winning been done on that boat, really, Todd, over time, and you know they know they need to make. They've got to be in the final to win the event. So it doesn't matter if you get into that final in 3rd place or 1st place. But I think what you do want out of today, if you're one of these top 2 boats like New Zealand or Great Britain, who I'd say are the form boats at the moment, they really, really need that momentum to take them into the final feeling like they're fast.
2.5 minutes to go before the start. Good time to check in with.
The course for race 5 is 7 legs. The axis is 296. Wind is approximately 20 kilometers per hour.
Melanie Roberts, the race manager, giving the numbers. We go on board Great Britain. Ben Ainslie. Ben, great race for you guys at race number 4. What's the strategy now coming into race number 5?
Yeah, well, we're trying to get to the start line and talk to you guys as well, so got a little bit on. we're just about to get ready for our acceleration in on port tack. And we've got to try and work out where we can find some space. Like you saw, that last start got very congested at the bottom end. So maybe a little bit higher up the line will work.
Well, it looks like
breeze has maybe come down just a touch, so tight racing.
Well, it looks like you got good control of that plan at the minute, Ben. How are you going to do it? How is there an opportunity to overtake if you're stuck in the pack? Is it possible?
Yeah, it's possible with this tight course, but you've got to really nail the boat handling and try and get away from the other boats. We'll have to sign off here. Thanks, guys.
Ben, appreciate your time as we come up on 90 seconds to go before the start of race number 5. Great Britain in control right now with a 4-point lead over New Zealand. The Americans, as we've documented so far, need a big performance here, as does Canada, to get themselves in a spot. And then the 2-time reigning and defending champions of the series, Australia, Stevie, way at the back of the pack. It's now time for Tom Slingsby to unleash what he's got on that boat.
I think he's got to start thinking about the season overall. I mean, he's going to be a lot better if he can get out of this event in 6th place overall than if he gets out of it in 8th or 9th. So it's still very important for the Australians looking at the season as a whole, but for me, their chance of the final's gone.
Hear the chatter once again. Killing time, trying to get to that line as it goes white.
That's right, that constant, you hear them saying killing. If you hear 10 to kill there, New Zealand turning in the background, that suggests they're nearly on time. But look how busy it is around New Zealand this time. It's like bees around honey at that end of the line at the moment as we see Switzerland and Great Britain. They have some space. They should be able to control their start a lot better. 25 seconds to go. Where are the gaps going to form this time as we come on the run in here? Denmark, France, USA. Great Britain and Switzerland have good control. The opportunists are hunting out the back. How's the timing going to be? I like where Jimmy Spittle is here. He's got to wind it up and come into this line at full speed. Here he goes, turns down. Look for the line to turn white. Bit late turning down on USA, I think. Out of the middle of the line, it's going to be Great Britain and Australia, and New Zealand thread the needle through at the very last. Too close for New Zealand.
OCS penalty, France over the line early. No delayed starters.
Oh, wow, that was a big one for Della Pierre. He needed a consistent result. It's going to be Australia leading from Spain and the USA at Mark 1, I think.
The 3 teams that need it the most out in front with Spain, Australia, and the USA coming up on Mark 1 here in race number 5.
Penalty New Zealand, relative Switzerland, windward boat not keeping clear.
Yeah, I was surprised we didn't hear that a bit sooner. We saw that, a late dive inside by New Zealand, but there wasn't a gap there for him to go into. That opens the door for Spain and Australia to sail away here as gate 2 is going to be looming large. Jimmy Spittle in 3rd. Big race for the Americans. The United States need a good result in this race.
Separation already taking place. It's Australia out in front, then it's Spain, then the USA on the far right of your screen.
20 kilometers an hour on average here downwind. Wind speed, doubled the speed on the water.
So impressive, isn't it? And what's impressive as well, that Australians, nice manoeuvre. Tom Slingsby's back where he's used to being here, Tom. He's used to being out in front, Todd, and I think we could see a bit of a mask. It's tight. USA must keep clear of Spain. That looks very close by Jimmy Spittle. He can't afford a penalty. He needs good results. Don't be surprised to hear the umpires brought in to adjudicate on that one. Very close by Jimmy Spittle. Was it too close or was he okay?
So far, so good for Jimmy Spithill and the Americans. Around gate number 2, it's Australia the first to turn away. There you see Spain, the Americans sitting now in 2nd place, with Great Britain now getting into the mix in 4th.
Yeah, it's really tight back in the pack. And Canada, well, they need to be ahead of France in this race to the final. Tight rounding by Della Pierre in behind the Canadians, but in the battle for the podium places, well, it's good news at this moment in time for the French and Canada. USA did get a penalty there in front of Spain. It was too tight. They're going to have to drop back behind the Spanish boats. Hugely costly penalty for the USA. Look, nearly 100 metres they're going to have to drop back behind the Spanish. Well, it does seem to have cleared off there, Todd. Maybe they managed to burn the penalty earlier during that manoeuvre in a clever move by Jimmy Spittle. The penalty came on and went off very quickly, so clearly Spittle managed to get away from it. But out in front, great work by the Australians, and New Zealand, wow, back in 9th. They don't need a 9th at this stage.
100% fly time from Australia. This is starting to see signs of the old team, the team we're used to that just dominate USA seem to have figured it out again. 51 kilometers an hour average speed, 100% fly time.
And I think Stevie called it. He wanted to see more aggression at the start from Jimmy Spithill, and that's exactly what he got.
Come on, I mean, Jimmy's no fool. He knows how to get in there and win a race. He knows how to be aggressive, and he really executed that very, very well under pressure. He needs it. Ben Ainsley's Great Britain, third. Well, that's just, they're really sailing solid here. But Jimmy needs to sail solid himself. Nice foiling turn there. They've spun the boat through the wind. Keep the boat on the foils. If they can get away from this gate in good shape, not too far behind Australia, it should be an easier race for the United States.
And this is key for the USA team. In order for them to make the final, they need to be staying ahead of Denmark, as this result will get them just 1 point ahead of them.
Still one more race to come, race number 6, which will follow. But right now, it would be the USA, Great Britain, and New Zealand into the podium race, the final race of the day, where only the top 3 teams. And I'll tell you what, this is the Slingsby we've come to know and love throughout seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Really slick work there, United States. But look, 2nd, 3rd and 4th currently in the standings. New Zealand, France and Canada, 7th, 8th and 9th. So there's going to be plenty of change up after this race in the overalls. Denmark need to try and hold things together. And as we said, yeah, Jimmy Spithill, he's got to fend off the fast-charging British boat, because they're sailing this blue British boat pretty well at the moment.
A third for the British boat would see them almost certainly making the final race right now.
Talking with Ben Ainsley, Stevie, just prior to the start of race number 5, he seemed pretty calm about his strategy, not showing his cards too much, but he has been so good the last 2 days here in Dubai.
They have sailed very well, Swiss. They're in the pack, doing a nice job. New Zealand and France, 7th and 8th. That's a pretty tight battle in the overalls. New Zealand cross clear ahead here, and they sail off looking for their own wind with a right turn at the top.
So it's Australia and the USA out in front as France makes the turn around the gate. Great Britain now tucked into 3rd with Denmark, as Emily pointed out. The Americans keeping an eye on the Danes, want to stay in front of them to secure that spot, but still with 1 race still to go.
Leg 4 or 6 here, Todd. Halfway through the race really should be fairly easy for Australia right now, but this battle, Spain, Switzerland, New Zealand and Denmark, is going to be tight in that pack. Denmark need to stay there.
So the Aussies are around that gate as we check in down on the water, and Lisa Darmanin.
Probably see it from where you're sitting, but it is a bit of a soldier's course at the moment, so we know those starts are critical, but everyone seems to just be following each other around the course. It's so flat out here, so not many boat handling errors are happening, but a few teams looking a little bit loose, like Canada. Great Britain had a moment at the top gate, so anything can still happen, but it's a little bit of follow the leader out here.
All right, Lisa, thank you very much. Australia still out in front. The USA holding on to that 2nd position and 3rd overall. If the race was to end right now, they would be in the final. Great Britain would be there as well. Denmark would be on the outside looking in as the Danes round just ahead of Spain. Boy, and that penalty early to the Kiwis, Stevie, has really set them back. Currently sitting in 7th place, the winners of race number 4.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it shows that however the higher quality team you are, if you find yourself stuck in the pack, you're just in disturbed wind. It's like you've got less fuel, less power for the wing to send you around, because the wind's disturbed, you're going to be slower. You see there, the French, you start having to do reckless moves like that, bad manoeuvres. When you're out in front, like Australia, top left, just sailing smoothly, sailing away, sailing fast, sailing free.
We could see there on Australia just how high they are pushing these boats to fly. In flat, warm water, there's a lot less opportunity for the foils to ventilate, which is when the foil sucks air into them and causes the boat to crash off. So when it's warm and flat like this, the flight controller can really push the ride height as much as possible.
And Emily, you sailed around the world. For the fans watching at home, explain the difference between the water they're sailing on here in Dubai and what we had at their last event in Cadiz.
Well, in Cadiz, as we saw, there were waves everywhere. It was bouncing off of the wall as well, which made it quite chaotic and unpredictable. While here, it's nice, smooth. It's like driving along a flat, nicely tarmacked road versus something full of potholes.
So it's Australia now with 1 more leg to go as they go around gate number 5, and they have been the owners of position number 1 since the start. Tom Slingsby in desperate need of points. It looks like he's going to get him here in race 5.
It's going to be interesting to see those points when we get back to it, Todd. Does this give Slingsby any hope of a final if he can get 2 first at the end of the day? As we see now, Ben Ainsley, he's pointing straight at the gate on the British boat now. It's going to be hard for Jimmy Spittle's US team from here. When they turn, it'll be Ainsley with the right of way. Spittle will have the right to do an inside turn on the left, but that's an awful lot of manoeuvres very late on. Right of way with Ainsley at the moment. United States is going to have to go behind. Wow, that could be costly. That 1 point going out the window here for the United States, but they split the course coming into leg 6 or 7. Will this be the right course? Who's going to find the most wind?
So Great Britain goes the way of Australia here on this last leg. They split the course of the Americans, who have to give way, and now Ben Ainsley, look at this. That is class.
It's just Ben and Hannah at the back of the boat discussing where all this traffic is.
Yep.
As soon as you've got kind of people a long way behind you, it makes it really hard to predict where they are, and they're having to sail the boat smoothly, but try and pick a way through the traffic.
In the distance, splitting the course, the Americans on the other side, and there you see the Australians in first place. They will be coming up to the gate, and then it's a quick right-hand turn to the finish line. So there will be a new winner here in Dubai, as the Australians have come storming back after a disastrous first day, and now they kick things off here in race number 5 with a much-needed victory. The 2-time reigning and defending champions, Tom Slingsby and Australia's SailGP, get the win. Race 5 here in Dubai.
Oh, Jimmy
Muted
Spittle.
Celebration. Here we go. Now it's on.
Look at that, Todd. Jimmy Spittle's found a way back past Great Britain. The United States did find more wind, more boat speed. Look, they're just going faster on the US boat. What a moment that could be for Jimmy Spittle. We heard on board the Australian boat saying we need Ben to beat Jimmy. Well, Jimmy's pulled a rabbit from the hat on this last downwind.
Not going to happen in race number 5. From a disastrous 9th place finish in race 4, the Americans come storming back with a second in race 5. And the USA comes across. Jimmy Spittle talking about losing the rudder. Great Britain, they will claim 3rd.
Yeah, miscom. I was trying to get Nick to get his head down, and I kept shouting at him.
Tight turn by the Danes here, Todd, for 4th. That'll be a really good result for them if they can hang on to 4th. Switzerland as well, hanging on to 6th. New Zealand, France, Canada, they were 2nd, 3rd and 4th before this race. It's going to be so interesting to see the overalls now. It's going to have got really, really tight, other than the British boat.
Bottom of the board, Stevie, they are going to be in salvage mode right now with France and New Zealand.
This could be a big moment here, Todd.
Yeah.
If New Zealand can get 1 place here into the finish, that could be massive. They've stayed on the foil. Switzerland have fallen off. Looks like New Zealand are going to go round the outside. Oh, big moment there. Switzerland fell off the foils, and New Zealand... Oh, you've got to keep racing all the way to the finish, Todd. Every point counts. Massive for New Zealand, that moment.
France comes in 8th place.
Yes, Robin?
And you got to wonder what happened to Canada. At the start of the race, they looked very good. They will finish in 9th place. So they go from 4th on race number 4 to 9th on race 5. Wow. I'll tell you what, those seats today, Stevie, with the finish line right there, they are the place to be in the Middle East. And once again, a great race as Australia gets the win. USA 2nd, Great Britain finishing in 3rd.
After witnessing the Kiwis' brilliant start in race 4, all the teams decided to set up further back in the box and have a go at hitting the line with pace on the foils. This time, though, because there was more traffic, they all ended up compressing, sailing up at this line, ending up at the top of the line. While the US spotted this, moved towards the bottom of the line, gained themselves some space, which allowed them to accelerate and have plenty of clear breeze, while the Kiwis then had to thread the needle once again, try find a space, and as you can see, the space wasn't really there, which is what then resulted in this penalty between New Zealand and the Great Britain and Swiss team. Plenty of carnage, keeps it exciting.
Well, yeah, we see here a fairly interesting moment. The United States must keep clear of Spain, and we see Jimmy Spittle, he turns down, Spain turned down, suggesting they had to keep clear. For me, that was definitely a penalty for the United States. Now, whether or not they got given that I'm still not entirely clear. We see here, look at Spain. He feels he has to turn left early to avoid a collision with the United States. Was that a bit dramatic? Was that an overplay? I don't know. We saw a penalty flag pop up on the United States, but somehow, very, very quickly, Harry Houdini manoeuvre by Jimmy Spithill, he seemed to wipe the penalty off. Now, had he had a penalty and had to go behind Spain, could have massively changed his hopes of making the final, whereas actually, dodging the bullet there means he's looking good right now.
So the results are in through 5 races. It is Great Britain now 7 points clear of second in New Zealand, who had a tough time in race 5, but they're still holding on to that other transfer position. And the Americans 1 point clear of Denmark. Emily pointed out just how close that would be. But look at the combination from 3rd all the way down to 7th. You're talking about 3 points, so it's still all to play for. Can the Americans hold on and grab that 3rd and final transfer position?
Well, Tom, it's not really been the weekend we're used to seeing from you until now, when you're back with a win and you got yourself within 2 points of the final. Do miracles really happen? Tom, I don't know if you can hear me down there. I'm going to give you one more chance, mate, but you got a race win in the last race there. It's been a tough weekend so far, but you've given yourself a chance at the final. What was the difference in that race? Thoughts?
Well, apologies as we work out our comms with Australia and Tom Slingsby, the winner of race number 5. We'll get his thoughts in just a moment. While we have a moment, let's check in down on the water with Lisa Darmanin to get a report from her as we get ready for the final race.
Well, winds have softened slightly across the racetrack, but there is still plenty of wind to foil. As we saw the United States team steal that 2nd place from the British team, I think that there is more wind over where we see all those spectator boats. So I think that was the key to that move. So I'd be interested to see if the teams seek out that pressure this race. There are plenty of battles going on in the mid-pack, and with these boat-on-boat situations, the umpires have kept very, very busy this weekend. That is especially at Mark 1 and throughout the start and at gate number 2. So let's have a look at how those umpires review the racing with the SailGP umpire app.
Tests and penalties traditionally take a long time to resolve, due to teams having to wait for analysis after the racing is over. Now, through SailGP's technology, our umpires can make accurate decisions within seconds with the umpire.
This is the umpire.
Each boat uses highly accurate GPS tracking systems and thousands of data points that are fed back to the umpires, who are located thousands of miles away in a central hub in London, England. With the data collected from all F50s, they get a virtual eagle-eye view in real time of everything that is happening on the racecourse.
This is the umpire's penalty GBR.
When a driver protests arrival, they press a button in their cockpit which instantly notifies the umpires. The umpires then review the incident and analyse data off the boats to make their assessment and tell the conflicted teams their decision and award any penalties as quickly as possible so that the race can continue.
Penalty on the French boat. They're going to need to drop behind the fleet. Australia must keep clear.
The ump app gives the umpires predictions on what course each F50 is taking.
Looks good to me.
Penalty Australia, penalty GBR, penalty Spain.
This technology is revolutionising the sport and ensuring decisions on the racecourse can be made quickly, fairly and accurately.
Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell has been a very busy man during this Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas, and we'll see what happens here in race number 6. Want to update you, we have had a 3-minute delay to the start of the final fleet race here in Dubai as hydraulic issues have beset the Spain SailGP boat, so they're working on that quickly, trying to get that rectified so they can get back out and sail. We can't tell you that Great Britain is into the final. We know that. They have got the points. Even if they finished in last in this final race, they would have enough points to get in. The battle now really is for 3rd place. New Zealand would have to have just a terrible performance not to make the final, but the battle for that 3rd spot will be between the USA, Denmark, France, and Australia.
Todd, I've got a bit of news on that. We've just had Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell come on, and there was actually contact between New Zealand and Switzerland in the pre-start of that race. It's going to be 4 penalty points added to New Zealand. Now, I imagine that's going to mean poor old Emily's abacus has got to do some serious reconfigurations. But yeah, that's a big mistake by New Zealand. Those penalty points are going to hurt, and I suspect it puts them right back into the battle to make the final.
It seems like they have that strategy of starting in the back of the pack. Emily and Stevie, and I'll throw this to both of you. They like to come in with a high speed net, and it looks like the rest of the fleet just created a roadblock or a speed bump, have you, to try to slow them down.
Exactly. When there's space for them to get through, it's the perfect strategy. But when you've got 2 boats with less than a boat space in between them that you're trying to get between, it doesn't work out so well. Now, those penalty points do have a very big impact on the current scorecard. That would put them on 31 points, tied with USA. And then just behind them, you've got Denmark and France on 30 points. So it's quite a big tie. And Australians aren't that much further behind, another 1 point behind that. So
5 teams within 2 points trying to get that third and final position. I'd love to go down and talk to Peter Burling about that penalty, Stevie, but he's got his helmet off again, so we want to talk to him as we go up on 5 minutes to go. Denmark doing their final preparations. This gives everyone a chance to really take a deep breath, go over the boat. Stevie, how much can they really get done in 5 minutes to have these things ready, and can they make any changes?
Oh, they seem to be able to get some pretty incredible stuff done. The tech team there we can see working away inside the hull, all the computer systems that are down in there. There's batteries, there's little engines, there's all sorts of things going on in there, far above my pay grade. But yeah, they can do some pretty significant repairs in a short period of time. And well, the Danish right now, they need all the magic they can muster to get them back in, and even a little bit of tuning going on board the Spanish team as well, by the look of it. They, you know, high-tech machines. You've got to keep them racing right on the edge of performance.
Emily, put you on the spot just a little bit, look into your crystal ball. As what we've seen from the momentum from races 4 and 5 today, momentum's a huge deal in SailGP. Whose chances do you like outside of Great Britain to make it into that final?
Oh, that's a brutal question, but you know, the French team have been on a roll, and their attitude towards the racing is brilliant to watch. So I do really hope they make the final today.
All right, we'll see if France can pull it off as we are now 4 minutes away from the start. Let's take a look back at race number 4. And once again, the Kiwis put it on a master class, Stevie.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were a little bit back at the start, but the speed they had as they came shooting through was just phenomenal, and that put them out in front. And I think what we've seen is as soon as you're out in front, it's pretty easy. When you're in the pack, doesn't matter if you're Tom Slingsby or Jimmy Spittle, it gets messy. So it's all about that ability to get away from these big groups, get away from other boats where you have big incidents, and that comes down ultimately to having a really, really good start, being clear, and being able to break away from the fleet. And I think now for New Zealand, they've put themselves needing that.
And you move on to race number 5, Australia, that finished in 5th place in race 4. They come out, Emily, in race 5, and it's like this is the 2-time defending and reigning champions that we've come to know.
I definitely wouldn't be writing them off for still making that final. And well, when it comes to final races, they are pretty strong. So let's not write them off just yet.
Well, yeah, I think unfortunately we heard a little bit of language in there, so I apologise for that language from the start. And I think that was, you know, the Kiwis were very, very upset. Got themselves in that incident. It's brought now penalty points about. Saw a tight moment here. Be great to debrief this after. It looks like we see the Spanish turn left. Florian Trittel there. Look at him lean in, press the protest button. But I'm not sure if he got the love that he perhaps was hoping he was going to get from the umpires, because Jimmy Spittle stayed in second, and he's put himself right in the hunt to make the final here today. It's going to be a spectacular next race.
So live pictures from Dubai. This is Event 7, Season 3, the Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas. First event in the Middle East for SailGP. Want to remind you while we can, coming up, Singapore SailGP to kick off 2023. That'll be January 14th and 15th.
The course for race 6 is 7 legs. The axis is 295. Wind is approximately 20 kilometers per hour.
So good news from Melanie Roberts, the race manager across the board. Emily, that means we should have plenty of foiling. That should make for a very hectic start, Stevie. and Emily when they get to that line.
Yeah, I think what I heard there's the wind's pretty similar. The crews have had 2 goes at this race course now, so we saw that New Zealand had kind of, cracked the code, if you like, on the first start. The other fleet had learnt. So what has everyone learnt now? What's your next play? What's your next move to find that bit of space, to find that elusive, high-speed start that's going to catapult you into Mark 1 in the lead? Because if you can lead at Mark 1, it's an awful lot easier race.
I think the key word there, Stevie, was the word space. It's all about having room at the start. That you can hit the line with speed, but if you've got boats in front of you in the way, you're never going to get off the line clean.
See the Americans on the inside once again. Remember that last race, they went to the far left of the screen, kind of on their own private island, and hung out, and then got to the line with full speed. 1 minute to go to the start of race number 6, and then the cut will be made. The top 3 will move on to the podium race.
We've got some very different approaches here. Australia already turned back towards the start line. New Zealand, they're out the back, as is the United States. They're planning on a big run-up. Change of strategy by Great Britain, normally leading everyone back. They're trying to stay out of trouble. Probably the only boat guaranteed a place in the final. New Zealand and Australia, it's a big fight going on with 30 seconds to go here. And New Zealand and Australia choose to lead the fleet back here with 28 seconds. They both look early towards the line. They're going to have to kill a bit of time here. Out the back, Great Britain are on the foils. Switzerland are on the foils. Pole position in the middle of the start line with 18 seconds to go. It's New Zealand, Australia and France in the middle. But can Jimmy Spittle's United States team find a gap? He's trying to jink his way through. Look for the line to turn white. That's when the start's clear to go. It's all about timing now. Spain and New Zealand in the middle of the line are tight. The whole fleet's on time. Oh, Jordi Jamar absolutely on the money there. Thread the needle, and it's going to be Spain and Great Britain leading away to Mark 1, and the rest of them, well, they're stuck in the pack fighting it out.
And just when you thought Ben Ainslie and Great Britain might play it safe and save it for the podium race, they come out with a great start. Mark number 1, it's Spain in front, Great Britain in second, France in third.
Look at the speeds on top of the mast there, 70 kilometers an hour for the Spanish team as they're rounding the mark, while the teams behind back in the 50-kilometer-hour range.
Talk about protecting your position, Stevie. If we went back to the start, the Americans pushing Canada and Denmark, their closest rivals, getting that final almost off course as they protect their line.
Yeah, I mean, there's no love lost out there, Todd, that's for sure. And this first lap or so is going to be crucial. New Zealand here making a move on the Swiss. They need to get back in the race. They're behind the United States, who they were tied with. They're behind Australia, who's breathing down their neck, and France are breathing down their neck. Peter Burling's New Zealand need to make some distance, because France, they're chasing down Jordi Jamar out in front. It's going to be really, really tight as we head down this course. Small manoeuvrings going to make a big difference. Here we go. New Zealand into the turn.
Spain makes the turn at gate number 2.
Great to see the Spanish team in the lead. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to make the final regardless.
Ooh, France cutting right in front of Great Britain. You wonder if the protest button's being hit.
Oh, it's a tight moment in there. In the background, United States, they turn left. Jimmy Spittle, the boat's tipping over, he heads away. He splits the course with New Zealand. It's all on for this battle for the podium. We're going to get Emily Nagao to get her mathematics hat on in a moment, because these points are going to be so close.
Penalty Switzerland, relative
right
New Zealand, not giving room at the boundary.
Big moment there. That's good news for New Zealand, but New Zealand do look slow at the moment as Spain, out in the front of the pack, they're just sailing away at the moment, and they've got space on the racecourse, as has Contalo de la Pierre on board France, and that's going to be good news for them in their hope of getting to the final.
Current positions would have the British team, the French team, and right now it's a battle between Australia and USA for the final spot.
How does Tom Slingsby do it? I mean, I'd written him off about 10 minutes ago.
Copy that. And breaking news, you see in the distance there, Denmark has retired from the race. They've got issues on board, so they will pull off. Good news for the American team. That's one less team they have to battle for to try to get in the top 3. But right now it is Spain, France, Australia, Great Britain, and the USA, the top 5.
Well, and we see there one more turn by the Australians trying to keep some space. They're going to surely have the French boat making sure they don't give them too much space. It's looking good on board Australia, though. Lucy Copeland at the back of the boat, head out of the boat, spinning around on a swivel, trying to look for space. Spain, they're moving along nicely, parallel to that yellow ley line. They should be quite well lined up as we see the mid-fleet battle. New Zealand, they've got space as well. Good news for New Zealand fans out there as we see now the head-to-head. Fly time for Spain. Well, they're in the lead 100%. France and Australia, that's the battle for the podium, and you can see as soon as you're not leading the race, it's a lot harder to have that 100% flight time. Leaderboard on the left, Spain in the lead, France second, Australia, New Zealand, USA third, fourth and fifth. And that's the battle for the podium. It's really tight. New Zealand are very, very much back in this. But can the United States and Jimmy Spithill hold them off? And what's Tom Slingsby got up his sleeve?
They're coming in fast into this next gate. This is race 6. The next race will be the top 3 in the podium race as we check in down on the water now with Lisa Darmanin.
Well, it is a tight battle for that top 3, but something very disappointing is the Danish team. They got off that start line, but they just did not turn down at Mark 1. It looks like they're having technical difficulties. The chase boat's just gone over to them, and they're dead in the water, so a really disappointing day for them.
For those 3 spots in the podium race, which will be coming up shortly. The Americans safely around that gate. It is the Americans in 5. They now slide back to 6 as Great Britain picks up another spot, and New Zealand moves ahead of the Americans as well.
And here's that race to the final. GBR obviously with their spot in, the French as well, but the USA team in by a hair with just 1 point advantage over Australia.
The Australians currently sitting in 3rd in this race, but remember, it's the overall after the 6 races. The top 3 will go into that final to battle out for the title here in Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas.
Well, here we go. As we look at our ladder lines, we see this is a real battle. Australia need to get past France to have a hope of beating the United States as it stands at the moment. One more turn. The French have the right of way. Spain, well, they're just boosting away, showing the quality that young Spanish crew have got. French have the right of way. What's Tom Slingsby going to do? He is a little bit behind. Will he split the course, or is he going to play it safe and follow the French boat? I think now it's time to roll the dice and anticipate a left turn from Tom Slingsby on the Australian boat.
France is around quickly. Slingsby's going to split the course on this one. You remember that last leg, the Americans went for that side and they slowed down considerably, so we'll see if the wind picks up for the Aussies.
It's a fast rounding by Australia. In the pack, Great Britain in 4th. New Zealand, they're up to 5th. It shows at the moment how well are they lined up for this gate. This could put New Zealand back in the race to make a place in the final here. It's really, really tight as this is going on now. USA showing a 7th at the moment. Ooh. What's happened to the United States? Can only assume there's been a bad boat handling error by the United States. They're right back in the pack. They've lost a lot of places. And as it stands at the moment, it's Australia in the final. Tied on points with New Zealand, but have the benefit of beating them in the last race. Any tiebreak is broken by the winner of the last race. They get the place in the final. So can Slingsby magic his way into it? That'd be unbelievable.
Americans now mired back in 7th, 1 spot ahead of Canada and the defunct Denmark squad that had to pull off the course. So it's 8 boats out on the course racing. Spain way out in front. You see their lead almost 200 meters. France sitting in 2nd place. Really not consequential as far as the podium race goes. But what is Australia holding on to that 3rd place position. And if they can pick up 1 more spot, Stevie, they're going to do themselves a solid.
Yeah, that's right. We look on the bottom left and we look at the fly times. USA and Australia. Well, they're showing us 99%, but it's Great Britain. They're not maybe got the fly times, but they seem to be able to keep that speed up and sailing the boat tactically very well to minimise manoeuvres. If Great Britain were to overtake Australia, that's good news for New Zealand. So this is crucial, this mid-fleet race. Great Britain and Australia are close, and there's New Zealand. Right-hand side of screen, leg 5 or 6. Probably only 1 or 2 options left for New Zealand now. Can Slingsby nail his manoeuvre here? It's going to be so, so tight.
A quick update from the umpires as well. The Danish had to retire because of a technical issue that was not their fault. And because of this, they will get a 6th place finish for this race.
Wow, okay. Right, now this is it. Great Britain turns the boat. They have the right of way. Slingsby's Australia needs to know that he's clear ahead. I think he is. Can he make it to this next gate with no more turns? I think he might just get there. New Zealand needs to overtake Great Britain to have a hope of making the final.
Spain, France, Australia, and New Zealand. Great Britain now slides into 4th place.
Good leg up into the wind there from the Australian boat. As they turn away from the wind, the drag reduces, the boat speeds increase. This is going to be a fast leg down here, leg 6 or 7. Now, and New Zealand have to overtake Great Britain to make the final.
It's all on here. Australia, New Zealand tied with points, as we said. It's all down to New Zealand getting this next position and jumping in front of the Australian team.
So keep your eye on the Kiwis and the Aussies. Right now it's Peter Burling and New Zealand sitting in 5th place. Happy to be following Great Britain, but they've got to get on their horse and go. There you see in the distance, in 3rd place, it is Tom Slingsby and the 2-time reigning and defending champions. Aussies trying to maintain that position. And Stevie, to your point, this would be typical Slingsby to pull the rabbit out of the hat and find somehow to get himself into the final.
Oh, Todd, I wrote him off about 15 minutes ago, didn't I? I thought he was absolutely done, but that shows my maths isn't up to scratch because Tom Slingsby's found a way as it stands. He's got no opportunity to make a mistake, though, from here. He's got to sail smooth and clean, and that's exactly what this young Spanish boat's done.
Spain picks up the victory in race number 6. Good momentum builder for them as they take a look to the next season. And once again, it'll be France coming through this gate, making that right-hand turn and then heading to the finish line. France will finish in 2nd. So it's Spain, France, and now the math begins as the Aussies close behind will finish behind them in 3rd place.
That was French, so I'm really, really happy. Good job by Quentin de la Pierre, and here come the Australians. I think they've done enough, unless Great Britain falls off the foils, which seems a bit hard to believe at this point. Would you Adam and Eve it? That's incredible here. Just incredible comeback from the Australians. What a story. And Peter Burling and his New Zealand crew, they're going to finish in 5th, but I think it's too little. Amazing.
We are going to have a big final race out there between the French, the British, and the Australian team. It is going to be all to play for again.
Good performance there by the Swiss. Nice solid weekend for the Swiss team. They'll be happy. They've been very much in the mix here. Perhaps not the fireworks they would have liked to have had, but they're definitely in the game, and so disappointed as we see the United States coming across in 7th. Oh, they were so comfortable. Look, they look dejected on there. Erica at the back of the boat looks absolutely gutted. Jimmy, Paul Campbell, James. Yeah, bad luck, guys. Well, whether it was bad luck or who knows, we didn't really see enough, but something went terribly wrong on that downwind leg. They lost a lot of places.
And for Canada, I mean, they started off this thing, race number 1, getting the win, and they finished the last race in last place. So Canada certainly needing to find their consistency. They want to be in the top 3, but it is all set to go in the podium race. It'll be Great Britain, France, and Australia battling out for the title here in Dubai.
It's been a tough weekend for the Spanish team, but this final start they absolutely nailed. Maybe got a little bit lucky, but nailed. All the teams up on the foils fairly early before the start, 40 seconds to go, and they were up on the foils. But as they all approached the line, they started to realize how early they were. New Zealand dropping off the foils, holding up Australia and slowing down the rest of that bunch up at the top end of the line. Meanwhile, further back, the Spanish and USA teams were up and foiling towards the line. The USA team picked a fairly big gap, while the Spanish team went pretty punchy and picked the tiny gap between the Spanish and the Kiwis, but boy did it pay off. 5k an hour faster at the gun than everyone else.
We are down to the final race. It will be the podium race here at the Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. It will be Great Britain, France, and the 2-time reigning and defending champion Aussies somehow making it into the podium race. This is going to be an all-time great here in the Middle East.
It's tight. The New Zealand boat needs to stay in that yellow circle. Now, could now be a protest back from Australia. Burling pushing the limit there. That could well go to the umpires because he needed to stay in the circle and it was certainly tight. It's a sprint in here. Has Burling managed to get 3rd from Slingsby? I think he does. Oh, if the umpires don't have anything to say, I think what a brilliant move at the finish there by Burling. He pushed the limit there. moves. France must keep clear. France has to give him room. There goes De La Pierre. Late reactions. This opens the door for Burling. New Zealand will have an opportunity here. Look at the speed. Going nearly 3 times the speed on board New Zealand. It's going to be a sprint across to the finish.
One boat length separates them in race number 1, and as they come to the line, it will be the Canadians that take the win here in Plymouth as New Zealand comes from 3rd to grab 2nd.
They're hoiling too high. They've lost it. They've lost it here. It's going to be really tight. They got the windward rudder out of the water. Can they save it? It's a sprint.
It's a full-on drag race to the finish line, the 3rd and final race of the day. Phil Robertson on the inside line, pushing Tom Slingsby, the defending champion, to the outside as they come to the line, and it will be the Crazy Canucks that cross the line just barely ahead of the Aussies for the win.
Expect an aggressive move from the Americans coming.
Classic match race in the final gate. It's the Americans on the inside, the French on the outside.
It's going to be a sprint now. They're both off the foils, Todd. It's a sprint to the foils, and there's the finish line coming into view.
Separated by just a few meters. With the finish line there, who will get the win as they come to the line here in Spain? And it will be France getting their first victory in SailGP St. Magnifique.
Oh, they blur.
Go, go, go. You guys all right? Fine. Look.
Well, the results from Event 6, Cadiz, Spain, are in for the Impact League, SailGP's cutting-edge program to reduce the series' carbon footprint and sustainability. Canada took top honors with some innovative programs to help the environment. Spain are the most improved, but in this season, it is still the defending champions, New Zealand, that are on top and out in front. The Impact League here on SailGP, the race for the future. Getting ready for the podium race here in Dubai at the Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. Todd Harris, Stevie Morrison, and Emily Nagel with Lisa Darmanin down on the water. And what an exciting 2 days of racing, 6 races down. And Stevie, I think the overriding theme has got to be consistency. Great Britain has been consistent. Other than the first race where they finished in 6th place, they are looking so good.
Yeah, I mean, they've sailed brilliantly. And I mean, still think seeing the French there, middle of screen and up in 2nd, that's 3 finals in a row now for Contan. I mean, this French team's the real deal. And then talking of the real deal, bottom right, kept us all on our toes. I think I was writing him off and telling him to try and salvage a 7th out of this event if he can. And it looks like he's put himself right in the battle to come away from the win. So yeah, what a lineup we've got for the final here. But without doubt, the top team of the weekend so far is Great Britain, but can this French crew, can they make it happen 2 in a row?
And I got to give credit where credit's due. Emily Nagel, you called it. You said the boat to watch would be France. The moment is yours.
I just had a feeling, and you know what? They have been sailing really well for the past 3 events. They've been consistent. Their attitude on the water is always brilliant. They've got this fight to the very end, and yeah, they've been sailing well.
Contan de la Pierre, Emily Rioux, quality squad there. And remember, it's just been over a year since Contan de la Pierre came on board. Meanwhile, Ben Ainsley, you talk about this team, Stevie, this is experience across the board. A few medals in there too as well.
Well, it is, but Todd, it's 18 months since this team last won a SailGP event. So I'd say there's a bit of pressure, despite what they're used to there. And, Hannah Diamond at the back, big job in terms of trying to avoid the fleet and keep that strategy sitting down. But now they're up against the Australians. Not very long to go to the start here. And, well, Tom Slingsby, he's used to winning, but he hasn't won for a while. So they're going to be hungry on this start here. Can be sure of that. We're ready for it. Kinley Fowler, he loves winning there, pumping on the handles, working hard. And anyway, here we go. 1 minute 50 to go. And all the teams are very much on their run in here now, Todd, as we see France, Australia, Great Britain. Key fact, big change, there's a lot more space around.
Yep.
Everyone should be able to sail fast. It's a bit of a test of boat speed. So, let's see who's fast.
90 seconds to go to the final race.
The course for the final race is 7 legs. The axis is 290. Wind is approximately 20 kilometers per hour.
Breeze is staying pretty steady then, Todd. That's what I'm hearing there from Melanie Roberts, so that's good news, and we can see the boats foiling around. Must be pretty horrible for the other boats in the background having to watch this final take place. But here we go, Australia, they're going to make the first decision as they turn back to the start line, and we're setting up with basically 1 minute to go to the start.
With the Dubai skyline in the distance, this is the final race, the podium race at the Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. You've got Australia, the two-time reigning and defending champions. You've got Great Britain, and you've got the upstarts from France with Quentin Delapierre.
How's it setting up here out the back? Tom Slingsby's Australia very keen to take control of the situation here. They're making the decisions, but they're off the foils with 36 seconds to go. Great Britain, they're coming in from behind. They've got a lot of speed. Great Britain and France will be attacking Australia late here, but the Australians are clearly confident with their decision. They're leading the fleet back. The line's going to come onto our shot from the right-hand side. There's the start line between the two red markers. I like where Australia is at the moment, but what last move has Ben Ainsley's Great Britain got? Expect a last-minute attack from the British boat here. Australia, how's your timing? Here goes the British boat. Big turn down, big acceleration. Look for the line to go clear at 5 seconds to go. They're all very close. They're all too close to the line.
Now this is the umpires, OCS penalty Australia over the line, over the start line early, no delayed starters.
Okay, Australia just need to drop back. They're already clear on their penalty. On the inside, it's going to be Great Britain at Mark 1. France will have a quicker angle towards Mark 1 here. Can the British hold on? Whoever leads at Mark 1 is going to have such a dominant position in this race, and I think it's going to be Delapierre.
The French doing 65, now 70 kilometres an hour here on this first leg, while the Brits are back at 60 kilometres an hour of speed.
The youngster, Quentin Delapierre, the first one to mark number 1. The master, Ben Ainsley, tucks in behind him. Who will be the first to turn in? Here comes the wily veteran, Tom Slingsby, sitting in third here. This is for the title here in Dubai.
Australia will be the first to turn away, but they've not done a great manoeuvre there. They dipped the hull in the water. They slowed up. They've lost a few metres. France out in front. They've got control, and it's just a case of being smooth and slick from here from the French. But what can Ainsley do? What's he got up his sleeve? He's got to keep it tight early on in the race and then see if he can force a mistake from the French later on.
No chance that Ben Ainsley plays it safe in this race. This is it. This is for the title. France out in front. How do they handle the pressure being applied by two of the very best in the business with Ben Ainsley of Great Britain and Tom Slingsby of Australia?
Bit of indecision on the British boat there. They were talking about going straight. I think this is too early in the race to split. It's too aggressive too soon for me, that manoeuvre there. And he's turned. Big gain for the French boat. Bit of an indecisive moment for the British as we see Slingsby on board Australia. He's going to try and go around the outside. This is just great news for Quentin Delapierre. Great Britain, they've got to watch out for Australia. They set up to turn away. Here we go. It's going to be tight, but anytime you're fighting a boat close to you, it's good news for the leader, and France move away.
Not a great turn by Ben Ainsley and the Great Britain team there. Luckily for them, the French have briefly dropped off the foils, so the losses won't be huge. Crucial in this final race to keep it on the foils as much as possible.
And all three boats now within 100 meters of each other at leg number 3 of 7.
At the top, right gate by 40. At the moment, we don't make one and in. Copy.
So there we go, Ian Jensen, the wing trimmer there. He's just saying at the top, we'd like to take a right turn because it's favoured by 40 metres. We can sail 40 metres less distance if we turn to the right, but we've got a fair few turns to do up this leg. And at the moment, look, top left, 90 metres lead for the French at the moment, and all the boats are going in the same direction. If you're sailing on the same direction as the boats behind you, that's great news, because if they're sailing a different direction, well, they might be able to find more wind, they might be able to go faster. As we see, there you go, Great Britain. Ben Ainsley spins the boat, trying to find more wind, but at the moment, well, Delapierre, it's a masterclass. Could he go back-to-back, Todd?
France, the winners of the last event in Cadiz, Spain, looking to make it 2 for 2. And France right now in the lead. Australia, Great Britain gets a little wild.
Too high. They're sliding sideways. Oh, Francois Mauve on the flight controller got a little bit too aggressive with the height. What's that going to have done to them? We saw them skid sideways. It's not done anything too bad, Todd. It's only a few meters. Wow, nervous moments for the French there.
They've got to just keep pushing it as high as they can. The higher the boat is flying, the less foil in the water, which is an extra little bit of speed. In that last leg, we saw them do an average of 2 kilometres an hour faster than the other two teams. So
Couldn't have asked for better conditions as the wind is holding over 23 kilometers an hour, and we've got three of the very best going head-to-head in close quarter racing.
Here we go, Great Britain. Oh no, they've had to turn away from Australia. That's disaster for the British. Australia up to second, and all it is good news for the French. That gap's going to stretch and stretch and stretch there. Great Britain, look, nearly 15 kilometers an hour slower than the French, and the French are turning right, which is what Ian Jensen told us was a 40-meter gain for a right turn. So it's going to be tight for second and third, but the French are vanishing here. Right of way with Great Britain here. Australia must keep clear of them, but Australia are going to be an awful lot faster after the mark, and I think we're going to start to see a match race between second and third because the French, they're doing a vanishing act.
250-meter lead right now for the French team.
What was less than 100 meters, now over 250. France out in front, leaving Great Britain and Australia to battle it out.
No surprises there, with an average speed of over 50 kilometers an hour and almost 100% fly time, while the other two teams are so busily battling each other, they've lost some speed.
Other interesting thing as well, of course, French won in Cadiz, but Amélie Rieu at the back, we just heard her there saying we're well set up to turn left. She actually jumped in as the strategist on board the United States, so she's on a winning streak for the United States as well.
Nothing particularly exciting in the start.
There we go, it's just a boat speed battle between Australia and Great Britain. As we see, they're some 250 metres behind the French, leg 4 or 7. It's really a case of just not making any mistakes here for the French. If they can sail the boat tidily and fast around the course, they've got this absolutely for the taking, because look, that's a big gap to have at the moment. What's Slingsby going to do? Is he going to split left and hope to find more wind?
France makes the turn. They opt for the right-hand side. Now decision time for Tom Slingsby in Australia and Ben Ainslie in Great Britain. Slingsby's going to follow.
That tells me he just wants to cement second place. He's given up on trying to win the event here. He's happy to come away with a second. Great Britain, Ben Ainslie, he's not happy. He splits the course. Can he find a little bit of magic on the other side of the course?
Looks okay this way.
See Hannah Diamond out the back looking.
Looking or wishing.
Yeah.
Something. Definitely hoping there. We heard there, Ian Jensen, it looks pretty good this way. Well, I don't know if it looks good enough, I'm afraid, Ian, because at the moment, the French clear across ahead. Big lead for De La Pierre. And there, look, it shows 130 metres out in front still. Australia, well, they've got to find something pretty magic from here. They look comfortably ahead of Great Britain right now, but a long, long way behind De La Pierre.
If you're the Australians, Stevie, you got to be pretty happy. First of all, you just made it into the podium final, but they still have a 4-point lead over New Zealand, who did not make it into the podium final, so they're going to walk away with more points on second place New Zealand in the overall.
Yeah, and I think that's the maturity we've seen from Tom Slingsby this year. He's so much more interested in that consistency. He knows he wants to keep himself at the top of the leaderboard. Been over the top of the leaderboard for over a year now. There you go, French not laying. That says to me Australia think they've got a shot at the French here. Could be one last manoeuvre to make. Push it all the way to the boundary on board Australia, and then when they come back together with the French, it'll be Australia with the right of way, but he's going to need to go very, very fast to pressurise the French from here.
Here come the Fighting Roos on leg 5 of 7 in the podium race. Can they track down the French? Great Britain having their own issues on the other side of the course.
Potential wing sheet issue like this. Again, Milky. Yep. Spot.
Right now, Todd, this is setting up. France now, when they turn, they have to watch out for the Australians. Australia has the right of way, and they've got to watch out for them. Australia's back in the race here. It's going to have to be a perfect manoeuvre by the French. I expect contact here. I think Slingsby's back in this. Here we go. Ooh. Oh, and Great Britain's back in it as well. Big manoeuvre for the Australians. He's got to spin it in front of the French. Great Britain's going to be on the inside. This is going to go down to the wire here. Whoever hits that circle first, can Australia be ahead?
It is really tight indeed as they all get together.
Great Britain has the right of way on the inside, but they will be slowest. French, the ham in the sandwich, and around the outside it's Australia.
From third to first, Great Britain takes the lead on leg 6 of 7.
Oh my Lord, what a move by Ainsley, and the French are off the foils, they're out the race. It's now a battle between Ainsley and Slingsby for the title here in Dubai. 40 metres in it, one last leg to go. Here we go, look at this on board Great Britain. They're on the inside. We can see they're just overlapped inside Australia, so they have the right of way. Oh, what a move by Ben Ainsley. Can he break his duck? I don't know, it's going to be a sprint here. Look, the Australian boat looks fast. Great Britain, there's possibly 2 more manoeuvres to do before the gate, but the roos are faster.
56 kilometres an hour there for the Australians. While the British team are slower, it is neck and neck as they sprint towards this bottom gate.
There's going to be 2 more manoeuvres to do before they get to this final gate here, and that will be absolutely decisive. Control lies with Ben Ainsley and Great Britain. This is a classic match race situation. Here we go. No.
Australia makes the maneuver. Let's check in down the water with Lisa.
This is crazy. I'm following the boats down to this final gate and it's neck and neck. Australia are sailing a higher, faster mode and they're trying to dictate the British team. So it's going to come down to the last manoeuvre here.
Oh, Australia's turn first. Australia, Great Britain have missed the foil drop. The inside goes to Slingsby. Apologies for the language. Massive mistake by Great Britain. Tom Slingsby. What a sense of timing that man has.
And for the Australians, it is back to their winning ways as the Fighting Roos bring it home for a victory in Dubai.
Oh, apologies for that language there, but that's just pure exhilaration overcoming them at the finish. What a moment, and for Great Britain and Ben Ainsley,
I cannot believe what we just saw. The French had it in the bag, then Ben Ainsley had it in the bag, and they all forgot about Tom Slingsby, the 2-time reigning and defending champions. You look at this, Australia started out this regatta with an 8th and an 8th before they got on their winning ways, and here they are winning the whole thing.
Oh, you're welcome, Dubai. What a race that was in front of the fans. And they would have all seen it right on the shore. Look what it means to them there. Lucy, Jason Waterhouse, Kinley, they couldn't have even been planning on being in the final a few minutes ago.
Unbelievable performance for the Australians as they come back and they get the win. Almost counted out with a penalty early on in this race, way in the back, and they never gave up.
Well, there were so many key moments here, really. We got to this final upwind, leg 5 of 7, right of way with Australia. France have to dip behind. Suddenly, Ainsley's got a shot on the inside, closes up on the French. Not a brilliant manoeuvre by the Australians, tactically not bad positioning, but he opens the door there for Great Britain, and the British boat slides through on the inside, and it's Delapierre drops out the back. Well, we thought that was the key moment. It was one heck of a moment as they came flying up the inside and they took the lead on board there with Great Britain. That last minute dive inside, but of course there was still more to play after this, so it was just a race full of moments, and that one really was fairly key as it shut the French out the back and suddenly put the British and Slingsby back in. But here the board just does not go down for the British. They're late to turn, and look how much further they've sailed. They're off the foils, 16 kilometres an hour. 15 from Australia. Well, that's pressure. That can only be pressure. You've got to execute the manoeuvres perfectly if you've got any hope of beating this Australian crew. Delapierre second. Well, good result for the French, but they can't believe it. 20 minutes ago, I was telling Tom Slingsby to try and get a nice 7th. Here you go, he's winning. What do I know?
In the front half of that race, the French team dominated with their speed and shortest distance sailed, but through the race we saw the Australian and Great Britain team chase them down. As Lisa mentioned, the Australians were sailing a wider and faster mode, which meant they sailed more distance than the Great Britain team, but they sailed at a faster speed. The Brits managed to keep their manoeuvres down and distance short.
Let's take a look at the series scoreboard, and what a performance as Australia comes from behind and gets the win. 10 points to the Aussies, the 2-time reigning and defending champions. Good run for France. That means that they have gotten a 1st and a 2nd the last 2 events, and Great Britain does finish in the final with 3 on 8 points. Denmark, USA, Canada, Spain, and Switzerland missing out on the podium final. So you add those points to the Season 3 scoreboard, and it looks like this. The lead continues to grow. Just when you thought Australia might be relinquishing the crown, not so much. Their lead now 9 points over New Zealand. France sits in third. Great Britain falls back to fourth. Denmark, Canada, and the USA in the top 7, with Spain and Switzerland towards the back. And we now go on board Australia in the Fighting Roos. Tom Slingsby. Tom, let me just give you your report card for the first 5 races. An 8, an 8th, a 4th, and a 5th. And here you are with the biggest smile on your face, taking the win in Dubai. Please explain to us how you pulled this off. As we work to continue, apologies, Tom, we're having a breakup on yours. We'll get back to you in a second. Stevie, I can only imagine what he's saying, probably along the lines of, I knew it all the time.
Yeah, I imagine. No, I think Tom knows the game a little bit too much to know that. He really, really did do a great job of coming. He'd just tell us you've got to keep fighting, and that's what he's done so well. Absolutely gutting, slight technical failures there. But anyway, I'm sure we'll get back to him soon. But it's such a performance as, I mean, the Brits, how are they going to be feeling? I'm not sure I'm brave enough to go on board and interview Ben Ainsley right now.
Oh, it's so close, because you're looking at it, Emily, at the second to last gate. They are in the perfect maneuver. They make the pip. They go from third to first, and you're thinking it's all on them. And really, the body language says it all.
Just what a leg. Not even the whole race, just what a leg.
Great Britain will finish in third place. They do take the points, so they are keeping the pressure on the leaders. But I cannot believe that we are seeing this as Australia SailGP takes the win. And what a performance and what an opportunity as the CEO of Rolex, Jean-Frédéric Dufour, on board. The CEO of Rolex presenting the champions the title here in Dubai. There'll be some non-alcoholic bubbly involved, Stevie, as well. And once again, we've said it before, we'll say it again, Australia claims the day.
Yeah, well, really some performance, and I think big on the overalls there. Another solid one for New Zealand with a 4th, but Great Britain and France, well, they're really showing that we've got a top 4 in SailGP at the minute, as we see some serious celebrations going on board the Australian boat. I just think must be shock as much as anything that they're actually getting to take part in it. But yeah, what an absolutely fantastic, as Emily said, final lap really was just off the charts. I thought it was going to get boring, if I'm honest with you, so thank you very much.
One of the best final races, Emily, we've seen in 3 seasons of SailGP.
Definitely, all of us on the edge of our seats. I can't imagine what it was like to be watching from that bottom gate in the stands.
And you talked to Lisa Darmanin as she came on board that last leg. She said it's all going to come down to this last maneuver. Stevie, you said it all came down to the last maneuver, and it just came down to the last maneuver as Australia gets the win. Great Britain falls back, and unfortunately they will finish in third place. Ben Ainsley scratching his face saying what could have been.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it's been 18 months since they've won, and that's a group of sailors that are used to winning things. So that's going to kick, and that's going to really, really hurt. And let's not forget the French. They're the real deal, and they've shown that this weekend.
No question about it. Emily, you called it the boat to watch, and they are on a tear with a 1st and a 2nd. What a performance. A lot of teams are going to be left wondering what could have happened. We do want to remind you that coming up next, it'll be January 14th and 15th in the new year. 2023, Season 3 of SailGP rolls on with another first-time appearance. We go to Singapore. It'll be the Singapore SailGP, January 14th and 15th in the new year. So on behalf of Stevie Morrison, Emily Nagel, and Lisa Darmanin, I'm Todd Harris saying so long for now. We will see you in the new year for SailGP Season 3. Congratulations to the Aussies.
3, 2, 1,
the king is back like prodigal. I gave them time, it's been too long. Was silent calm, but now the storm. I'm not the one you can't ignore. I'm the headline, the deadline. I'm a